Hello everyone and welcome back to Roguelike Gaming. Today we are going to take a look at Dandy Ace. This action roguelike promises to dazzle you with its fabulous magic, quick action, and lots of possible builds. Whether it can deliver on its promise is the question we will try to answer today. Dandy Ace is available on Steam for €16.79, your regional equivalent. Action roguelikes are one of my favorite genres to have fun with, but they're also very hard to do right. And on top of that, last year we saw the best ever action roguelike with Hades. It will be so hard to be compared to that. But let's see whether magic is the answer to Greek gods. Right as you start, the first thing to greet you in Dandy Ace is the introduction to the story. This happens even before you load into the game, and honestly, I don't like that decision. I want to get into the menu and set up my game, especially when it comes to the volume and everything, before I get anything from the game. But luckily, I didn't have my headphones on while the game was first loading, because otherwise I would be deaf right now. The story itself is okay. You'll be playing as Dandy Ace, a magician who was trapped inside a magic mirror by another magician. The story relies on comedy in forms of tons and tons of puns and cultural references to try to keep your attention, but honestly, this works only for a little while until you stop paying attention to them and the story becomes completely irrelevant to you. And this is such a shame because the theme of Dandy Ace has a lot of potential for a good story, but it just didn't get used that well. But stories aren't what makes us play games long term. That's where gameplay rules. And honestly, the gameplay in Dandy Ace is quite good. Not the greatest I've ever encountered, especially in an action roguelike, but quite good. Just as you'd expect, you get a few abilities, 4 to be precise. The interesting part lies in the fact that your abilities aren't set. During each of the runs, abilities will be frequently dropping as loot from your enemies. And furthermore, better versions of the abilities will be dropping over time, and you will truly need to upgrade them, otherwise you will be quickly falling behind. The second cool part about the ability system lies in modifications. As in many other roguelites, you'll be able to modify your abilities. But the way Dandy Ace does this is quite interesting. Instead of using some sort of a leveling system, instead of just finding pure attachments for your abilities, you actually use abilities to modify abilities. Okay, I know that sentence makes little sense, but hear me out. Each of the abilities you're going to be finding inside a magic mirror has 2 different modes. The first is simple. They're just an ability. The second mode allows you to attach it as a modification, and then it gives some benefit to the primary ability you just expect. The number of abilities available is also quite decent. You'll start with only a few unlocked, but quickly you will build a very nice library of magic tricks to use against your opponents. And because of the theme of the game, I literally mean magic tricks. Abilities range from throwing magic cards at your opponents, just truly dazzling them with bright light, to using explosive card mines or even freaking bubbles. Seriously, some ridiculous stuff, but it all fits the theme. Sadly, it all has one big problem in my mind. The fact that you can freely swap your abilities around and even have multiples of the same ability equipped multiple times led me towards a discovery. The best way to play Dandy Ace when it comes to playing well was just equipping multiples of the same exact ability to each of the slots apart from one, which was left for the teleport ability to get you out of danger. This transformed everything I found just into gold, and I didn't care about anything that dropped from the enemies, apart from a lucky upgrade on the ability I already had in. And when I achieved this, usually 10 to 15 minutes into a run, I alt-tapped for a second, entered my mouse utility software, and quickly created a macro which just made me push a single button to fire all my ability slots at once. This completely trivialized the gameplay. I just spammed my 3-in-1 ability while dodging with my teleport. So, I'm a little bit unsure of what to say here. I do like the gameplay, when it's played as intended. On the other hand, gamers are pretty famous for finding ways to make games easier for themselves, and Dandy Ace has a pretty big and easy way of doing so. I think it really depends on you as a gamer in the end. But going back to the game itself, we are left with the graphics, the sound, and performance. So let's talk about the graphics. And to be completely honest, this was the part I think I was disappointed by the most. I can't say Dandy Ace looks bad, but there are things that just don't go well with the rest, especially the characters. They're nice and everything, well animated, but they just sort of stick out and they feel out of place. To a large degree, this will likely just be a matter of personal preference, but still. Then there's the music, which I can honestly describe as being there. It's okay, but nothing truly special about it. And before we end, then we have the performance, which was good. Really, no bugs that I experienced, no crashes, no nothing. Ideal situation. So, in conclusion, Dandy Ace is a good action roguelike. I can't say it's the best one I ever played, but that's a really hard comparison to my last year's Games of the Year, Hades. But honestly, if you still haven't played that gem, I just recommend Hades instead. But if you have played it, don't want to play it anymore, yet you are still searching for more action roguelikes, then Dandy Ace is a good choice. So, that's it for today, guys. I hope you liked the review, and if you do, please consider giving a thumbs up here on YouTube, perhaps even subscribe to the channel, and for the love of God, please be sure to share it with your friends. And comment if you have anything you would like to add. See you guys later with more gaming content.